Adama worked for Achendo, the wealthiest trader in the entire region. Achendo was old, his back bent from years of counting gold and his eyes dimmed by the glitter of his own success. He was known for his immense fortune, stored in a legendary vault deep within his compound, a vault said to hold more gold, ivory, and precious beads than anyone could count in a lifetime. Adama served Achendo faithfully for years. She managed his accounts, organized his trade caravans, and even tended to his personal needs as his health began to fail. She was his shadow, his right hand, the one person he trusted completely. But as the years passed, a seed of envy took root in Adama's heart. She saw the old man's wealth, his lavish lifestyle, and the respect he commanded, and she began to feel it was all wasted on him. "It belongs to me." The whisper grew into a roar, a consuming fire of greed that burned away her loyalty. Adama began to plot. She knew Acendo's routines better than he did himself. She knew when he took his afternoon nap, what herbs he used for his tea, and where he kept the single, ornate key to his legendary vault. Her plan was simple, yet sinister. She would brew him his evening tea, but this time she would add a special ingredient, a tasteless, colorless powder from a rare forest root, known to send one into a sleep from which they would never awaken. One evening, as a gentle rain pattered against the thatched roofs, Adama put her plan into action. She prepared the tea, her hands steady despite the frantic beating of her heart. She carried the steaming cup to Acendo's chambers. He was sitting by the window, watching the rain, a nostalgic smile on his face. "Ah, Adama," he said, his voice a frail rasp. "You're always so thoughtful. Come, sit with me for a moment." Adama's breath caught in her throat. She had expected him to simply take the tea and drink it, but he wanted to talk. "I am busy, my lord," she said, trying to keep her voice even. "The ledgers need balancing." "The ledgers can wait. Tonight, I feel like talking about the past. You know, Adama, you remind me of my own daughter. She had your spirit, your fire." He sighed, a deep, mournful sound, lost to the fever many years ago. A pang of guilt, sharp and unexpected, pierced Adama's heart. She pushed it down. It was too late to turn back now. She watched, her body tense, as he picked up the cup. He spoke of his youth, of his first trade, of the wife he had loved and lost. He spoke of his dreams, not of wealth, but of family, of a legacy, not of gold, but of love. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was the key. It was heavier than she expected, cold and solid in her trembling hand. Her lantern cast dancing shadows across the walls, and what she saw made her gasp. But it was not a gasp of delight. It was a gasp of pure, unadulterated horror. Dozens of life-size statues, carved from wood and clay, stood in silent rows. They were statues of men, women, and children, their faces frozen in expressions of terror and despair. And sitting in the chair was another statue, one that made Adama's blood run cold. It was a statue of Ochendo, but a younger, stronger. His face was a mask of cold fury, and in his stone hand, a whip, confused and terrified. Adama raised her lantern higher. That's when she saw the inscriptions carved into the base of each statue. The inscription read, "Jide, my most trusted apprentice, he tried to steal my trade routes." She moved to another, a statue of a woman. "Amina, my head housekeeper. She tried to poison my food." A fresh plaque was already affixed to it, and carved into the stone were two words that sealed her fate. Suddenly, the great iron door at the top of the stairs slammed shut with a deafening boom, plunging her into absolute darkness. The lantern slipped from her nerveless fingers and crashed to the floor, its light extinguished forever. A chilling, disembodied laugh echoed through the chamber. The same soft chuckle Ochendo had given her just before he died. It wasn't the laugh of a frail old man. It was the laugh of a predator who had just trapped his prey. Adama screamed. She screamed until her throat was raw, but the only answer was the mocking echo of her own terror. She finally understood. His stories, his feigned weakness, it was all part of the test. A test she had failed spectacularly. The greatest treasure Ochendo possessed wasn't gold or ivory. It was his twisted collection of traitors. He had built his reputation on the rumor of a great fortune, using it as bait to expose the greed in those around him. Adama, whom he had called daughter, was just the latest addition to his gallery of betrayal. Trapped in the cold, silent dark, surrounded by the stone faces of those who had come before her, Adama was left with nothing but the crushing weight of her own greed, a permanent monument in a tomb of ambition. And in the village above, life went on, unaware of the dark secret buried deep beneath the rich man's house, a testament to the chilling truth that the greatest traps are the ones we build for ourselves.